Think a worn old quarter is worthless? Think again. Some bad-condition Washington state quarters are so rare, collectors are paying millions of dollars for them. Stay tuned as we reveal the most valuable quarters you never knew could be worth a fortune. First up, the 1988 Washington quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P mint mark, is part of the long-standing Washington quarter series, which was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. A coinage series that has spanned multiple generations and reflected the evolution of American coinage, design preferences, and minting technology over decades. With the 1988 edition representing a period of stable, high-volume production in the late 20th century, during a time when the U.S. economy was experiencing growth, consumer culture was thriving, and coin circulation was robust across both urban and rural environments, meaning that millions of these quarters passed through the hands of ordinary citizens in countless daily transactions, from vending machines, cash registers, toll booths, to being carried in pockets, purses, and wallets across the country, which over decades of handling caused extensive wear, resulting in coins often reaching bad condition, which in numismatic terms corresponds to a grade of good, G, or about good, AG, where the obverse design of George Washington's profile is heavily worn, flattening many of the details in his hair, facial features, and clothing, while still generally leaving the date 1988 and the word Liberty faintly visible, although sometimes partially obscured by circulation wear, scratches, and surface abrasions, and where the reverse side, featuring the heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, is typically so worn that feather detail, talons, and arrows may be nearly indiscernible, reflecting decades of handling and the natural effects of a coin surviving in commerce, with rim edges often worn down, the reeded texture flattened, and the copper-nickel-clad surface showing dark toning, patches of brown or gray patina, and occasional verdigris, which collectively give the coin a character and visual history that is valued in a descriptive and educational sense, if not in monetary terms, since the 1988 P quarter was produced in enormous quantities, with official U.S. Mint records showing a mintage of approximately 680 million coins, making it extremely common, and thus in low-grade circulated condition, it holds minimal collector value beyond face value, typically 25 cents, though it remains an important piece for educational purposes, album completion, and circulation pattern study. This coin was struck using the copper-nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965, consisting of a copper core surrounded by an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gives it durability for everyday use and a silvery outer appearance with reddish undertones visible if the outer layer wears through. A composition choice driven by rising silver prices, economic considerations, and the need for cost-effective coinage that could withstand decades of handling without excessive corrosion. Although bad-condition coins often display post-mint damage, such as scratches, dents, discoloration, and environmental wear from prolonged exposure to moisture or improper storage. The obverse portrait of Washington, designed by John Flanagan, is iconic for its neoclassical elegance and realism. Chosen from a design competition in 1931, and has remained largely unchanged in basic appearance, with slight modifications in the rim and lettering over the decades, providing a sense of continuity for collectors and everyday users alike. The reverse eagle design, meanwhile, represents American values of strength, vigilance, and peace, symbolized by the juxtaposition of arrows and olive branch. And though these symbols are nearly flattened on circulated coins in poor condition, they provide insight into the historical artistic choices of the U.S. Mint and the symbolic language of national coinage, reflecting the era's emphasis on patriotic iconography in a period preceding the 50-state quarters program of 1999, which would later revolutionize collecting interest in quarters. In addition to design and composition, The 1988 P. Washington quarter, in bad condition, offers a rich avenue for study of circulation wear, as numismatists often examine such coins to track patterns of usage, regional handling differences, and post-mint environmental effects. Considering that millions of these coins circulated nationwide over decades, encountering varying degrees of abrasion, chemical exposure, and mechanical stress in the economy, resulting in individual coins with unique surface characteristics, toning patterns, scratches, and flattened relief that are of interest to researchers and collectors studying coin longevity and wear. While the monetary value of a badly worn 1988 P quarter is negligible, it may still serve as a reference piece for identifying die varieties, minting errors, or off-center strikes, as even common coins can occasionally carry minor anomalies such as die cracks, die clashes, planchet flaws, or doubling that, when verified by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, could provide collectible interest and premium value relative to standard circulated examples, although such errors are rare in this particular year and mint. In terms of physical specifications, the coin measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, 1.75 millimeters in thickness, weighs 5.67 grams, and has a reeded edge, details that remain largely consistent across Philadelphia strikes of this era. Yet in bad condition examples, the reeding is often worn down or partially missing, and surface scratches, discoloration, and edge nicks are common. Historically, this coin represents an era of American coinage where utility and mass circulation were prioritized, bridging the classic silver quarter age of pre-1965 coins with the modern copper-nickel-clad era, and providing insight into late 20th century currency handling, economic conditions, and mint output trends. Its circulation across decades, passing through countless hands, makes it a silent witness to American life, commerce, and culture, embodying stories of transactions in grocery stores, vending machines, bus fares, and pockets, while simultaneously maintaining a role as a collectible artifact for those studying coinage history, minting processes, or the evolution of the Washington Quarter series. Despite the minimal intrinsic or collector value in bad condition, the 1988 P quarter is widely used in educational contexts, coin teaching sets, and by beginner collectors seeking to understand mint marks, date legibility, wear patterns, and basic coin grading principles, making it a foundational example in numismatic education, while also serving as a useful reference in bulk coin collections, circulation analysis, and comparative studies with other quarters from the 1980s, including those struck at Denver and San Francisco mints. Additionally, the coin's metal composition and physical characteristics provide opportunities to explore metallurgical, chemical, and environmental interactions, as circulated examples often display patina, corrosion, or surface toning that illustrate the chemical behavior of copper-nickel alloys over time. Ultimately, the 1988 Washington Quarter P mint mark in bad condition is a coin that, while lacking monetary scarcity, is rich in historical, educational, and observational value, offering insights into decades of circulation, minting practices, symbolic design, compositional durability, and the broader narrative of American coinage as a tangible artifact of economic, cultural, and historical significance, embodying the endurance of the Washington Quarter series and serving as a reminder of the countless ordinary hands through which it has passed, the wear and marks it has acquired along the way, and the fascinating stories it silently carries about the everyday life of the United States in the late 20th century and beyond. A coin whose very imperfections make it an authentic representation of circulation history, the passage of time, and the ongoing legacy of one of America's most enduring and recognized coin series, providing endless avenues for study, collection, and appreciation. For numismatists, historians, educators, and casual collectors alike, Next up, the 1967 Washington quarter, struck without a mint mark, is part of the post-1965 copper-nickel clad series, produced in Philadelphia, and represents a pivotal era in American coinage, reflecting both historical continuity and modern adaptation, as it belongs to the series of Washington quarters that began in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, a design created by John Flanagan, whose classical yet realistic profile of the first president has remained largely unchanged for decades, and has become an iconic symbol of American coinage, appearing on billions of quarters and recognized globally. The 1967 quarter is particularly notable because it was struck during a period of transition in U.S. coinage, coming after the removal of silver from circulating quarters in 1965 due to soaring silver prices, replacing it with a clad composition consisting of a 75% copper, 25% nickel outer layer, bonded to a pure copper core, a change that preserved the quarter's weight, diameter, and thickness while ensuring durability and cost efficiency. And this composition gave the coins a silvery appearance, with reddish undertones visible if the nickel layer wore away, which is especially common in coins of bad condition, where circulation wear often exposes the copper core in patches, resulting in discoloration, toning, and surface imperfections. The obverse of the coin features John Flanagan's classic left-facing portrait of George Washington, surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty" at the top, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date 1967 below the neck, while the reverse presents a bald eagle with outstretched wings perched atop a bundle of arrows with an olive branch beneath, symbolizing the United States' readiness for war and desire for peace. Though in coins graded good, G, or about good, AG, the typical classification for bad condition coins, the eagle's feathers, talons, arrows, and olive branch are heavily worn and sometimes barely discernible, with the overall design flattened, edges smoothed, and the reeded rim nearly or completely worn away, making the coin more a study in circulation history than a display piece. Yet even in this heavily circulated state, the 1967 quarter is a tangible artifact of late 1960s America, passing through countless hands in everyday transactions such as grocery stores, vending machines, toll booths, and public transportation, and its wear patterns tell stories of decades of use, exposure to environmental conditions, and handling by ordinary Americans, reflecting the economic, social, and cultural backdrop of the era, including the post-war economic boom, rising consumer culture, and growing reliance on coinage for everyday purchases. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint struck no mint mark coins in very large numbers, with official records showing hundreds of millions produced, making them common in circulation and contributing to their relatively low collector value in poor condition, though their significance lies more in historical and educational importance rather than scarcity or monetary premium, as bad condition examples are typically worth face value, around 25 cents, unless they possess rare errors or varieties, such as double dyes, die cracks, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws, which, though uncommon in 1967, are occasionally found by dedicated collectors or professional graders, making even heavily worn coins potentially interesting if an anomaly is present. The physical specifications of the 1967 Washington quarter include a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a weight of 5.67 grams, dimensions standardized for post-1965 quarters. And while the reeded edge was originally crisp and distinct, it is frequently worn smooth on circulated examples, which, coupled with scratches, nicks, discoloration, and sometimes verdigris or other signs of environmental exposure, illustrates the coin's journey through multiple decades of circulation. Numismatically, the 1967 quarter is significant as a transitional coin between the silver issues of the early 20th century and the modern clad issues, demonstrating both continuity in design and adaptation to economic realities, making it an essential reference point for collectors studying minting technology, design evolution, and circulation wear. As even in bad condition, it can serve as a teaching tool for understanding mint marks, grading, and the effects of circulation over decades, and can be compared to higher-grade coins or other mint issues from Denver or San Francisco to observe differences in striking quality, die polish, and overall preservation. Although rare and high-grade examples of 1967 quarters may fetch modest premiums in collector markets, coins in poor condition provide insight into daily life, coin handling practices, and historical circulation patterns, offering a narrative of the coin as a silent witness to American history, from the economic conditions and retail practices of the late 1960s to the cultural shifts and everyday use of currency, embodying the countless transactions, handling, and environmental exposures experienced by coins over time, with each scratch, flattened edge, and surface blemish reflecting a story of decades of circulation, illustrating how mass-produced coinage becomes a medium through which social and economic history can be studied, as well as providing opportunities for beginners to learn about coin collecting, album completion, mint mark identification, grading principles, and circulation effects. Further, the coin's metal composition, with its copper-nickel outer layers and pure copper core, allows for the observation of chemical and physical interactions over time, with toning, patina, and minor corrosion serving as evidence of environmental effects on the alloy, while the worn features offer examples of how high-circulation coins degrade in relief and detail, demonstrating important aspects of coin durability, metallurgy, and minting quality, and contributing to a broader understanding of U.S. coinage history, mint operations, and the evolution of circulating coin design, production, and utility. Ultimately, the 1967 Washington quarter, no mint mark, in bad condition, while lacking intrinsic monetary value or scarcity, represents an enduring example of American numismatic history, embodying the durability, design, circulation experience, and cultural narrative of the late 1960s, serving as both a historical artifact and an educational tool, while illustrating the ongoing story of the Washington Quarter series, the transition from silver to clad coinage, the interplay between circulation wear and coin longevity, and the subtle yet fascinating details of American coinage that make even a worn quarter a valuable object for study, comparison, and appreciation, providing an unbroken link between the past and present, connecting collectors, historians, and the public to the everyday life, commerce, and history of the United States through the enduring image of George Washington and the eagle that has graced these quarters for decades, a coin whose imperfections are a testament to its journey, its practical use, and its place in the story of American currency, making it far more than just a 25-cent piece, but rather a living chronicle of mid-20th century numismatics, design evolution, and societal history, rich with educational, historical, and observational value for anyone interested in coins, collecting, or the tangible artifacts of America's economic and cultural past. The 1970 Washington Quarter, struck at the Denver Mint and marked with the D Mint mark, represents a fascinating chapter in the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. A design created by John Flanagan, whose neoclassical yet realistic left-facing portrait of the first president has endured for decades and become an iconic symbol of American coinage, appearing on billions of quarters over multiple generations and reflecting both continuity in American design and the subtle evolution of minting techniques. The 1970 quarter is particularly significant as part of the post-1965 copper-nickel-clad coinage era, which replaced the silver coins due to rising silver prices. A change that produced a durable, cost-effective coin with a copper core bonded to a 75% copper, 25% nickel outer layer, giving the coin a silvery appearance with reddish undertones visible where circulation wear exposes the core. A common occurrence in coins classified as bad condition, which in numismatic grading corresponds to good G or about good AG, where the high points of the obverse and reverse designs are heavily flattened, lettering may be worn, and fine details such as Washington's hair strands or the eagle's feathers are often indistinguishable. The obverse features Flanagan's classic portrait of Washington facing left, with the inscriptions Liberty at the top, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1970 below the neck, while the reverse depicts the heraldic eagle with wings partially spread, clutching arrows above an olive branch, symbolizing the United States' readiness for defense and desire for peace. Although in bad condition coins, these elements are often heavily eroded, leaving only the outline of the eagle and arrows faintly visible, and the reeded edge is frequently worn down or flattened, a testament to decades of circulation. Minted at Denver, the 1970 D Washington quarter was produced in large quantities, reflecting strong demand for change and general circulation, with official records showing hundreds of millions of coins struck that year, making it extremely common and generally of low monetary value in poor condition. Though its historical, educational, and numismatic significance remains notable, as it demonstrates the durability of copper-nickel-clad coinage, the circulation patterns of the late 20th century, and the evolution of minting practices. Physically, the coin measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, 1.75 millimeters in thickness, and weighs 5.67 grams, with a reeded edge. Though in bad condition examples, the reeding is often worn smooth, and the surface exhibits scratches, nicks, discoloration, toning, and sometimes verdigris, revealing its long journey through countless hands, pockets, and cash registers, telling a story of mid-20th century American commerce and everyday life. In terms of collecting, while high-grade 1970 D quarters are more desirable to numismatists and can fetch modest premiums, coins in bad condition serve as accessible educational examples for beginners learning about mint marks, grading, circulation wear, and the identification of design details, while also providing a baseline for comparison with uncirculated or proof coins and with other mint issues from Philadelphia or San Francisco. Even in poor condition, the coin can occasionally reveal minor minting errors, such as die cracks, doubling, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws, which, though rare in the 1970 D series, can elevate the interest and value of an otherwise common coin if properly certified by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. The 1970 D Washington quarter also provides a window into the broader historical context of the era, circulating during a period of economic and social change in the United States, including the post-Vietnam War era, shifts in consumer behavior, and the expansion of coin-operated machines and automated services, making it a small but tangible reflection of American life at the time. The coin's metal composition allows for observation of the interaction between copper and nickel over time, with circulation and environmental exposure producing characteristic toning and patina, which can range from dull gray to brown, and sometimes include greenish spots, offering both visual and educational insights into the effects of age and handling on modern coinage. Numismatists often study coins like the 1970 D quarter in bad condition to understand the patterns of wear, survival rates, and the practical impact of decades of handling, as each flattened feature, scratch, or worn edge provides clues about circulation behavior, coin longevity, and public usage habits. giving the coin historical and research value beyond its face value of 25 cents. From an educational standpoint, this quarter is ideal for beginners and students studying coinage history, minting techniques, or the Washington Quarter series, allowing for hands-on learning about grading scales, the significance of mint marks, design elements, metal composition, and circulation wear patterns, while also serving as a comparative example against higher-grade or rarer coins, including those from the 1960s and 1970s, both clad and silver issues. Although common in circulation, the 1970 D quarter in poor condition remains part of the enduring Washington Quarter narrative, bridging the gap between the classic silver quarters of the pre-1965 era and the modern 50-state quarters program that would begin in 1999, illustrating the adaptability of U.S. coinage design, minting strategy, and public use. Its widespread circulation over decades makes it a living historical artifact, reflecting countless daily transactions, environmental exposures, and handling events that contributed to its current condition. And while it may not command significant collector value in this state, it embodies the continuity, durability, and symbolic significance of the Washington Quarter series, serving as a tangible link to mid-20th century American culture, commerce, and numismatic history, and offering endless educational, research, and observational opportunities for anyone interested in coin collecting, history, or the material culture of the United States. Ultimately, the 1970 Washington Quarter D mint mark in bad condition is far more than a mere 25-cent piece. It is a testament to decades of use, a study in minting and circulation practices, an educational tool for collectors, and a silent witness to the social, economic, and cultural life of the United States during a pivotal era, representing a convergence of artistry, history, metallurgy, and everyday human interaction. A coin whose imperfections tell a story as rich and enduring as the Washington Quarter series itself, making it both historically significant and endlessly fascinating for numismatists, educators, and casual collectors alike, who can appreciate not just the coin's face value, but the decades of circulation, wear, and history it embodies, serving as a bridge between past and present, and a tangible piece of America's numismatic and cultural heritage. A coin whose worn surfaces, flattened designs, and patina are themselves a chronicle of the countless hands, pockets, and interactions they have encountered. Cash registers, vending machines, and daily lives it has touched over more than half a century. A story captured in metal that continues to educate, intrigue, and inspire anyone who studies, collects, or simply observes it as a lasting symbol of American coinage history and the enduring legacy of George Washington on the nation's currency. The 1986 Washington Quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P mint mark, represents an enduring chapter in the long-running Washington Quarter series, a series that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, featuring the neoclassical yet realistic left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, whose work has remained iconic and largely unchanged over decades, making it one of the most recognized coin designs in American numismatics. This particular quarter belongs to the post-1965 copper-nickel-clad coinage, introduced after the United States moved away from silver coinage due to rising silver prices, a transition designed to preserve the coin's size, weight, and functionality while dramatically reducing production costs and increasing durability for general circulation. Consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gives the coin a silvery appearance with reddish undertones visible in areas of heavy wear where the nickel layer has eroded, a common feature in coins classified as bad condition, often graded good or about good, where high points such as Washington's facial features, hair strands, and clothing folds are flattened, and the reeded edges are frequently worn smooth, while the P mint mark, positioned to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse, may be faint or partially obscured due to decades of circulation, sometimes challenging without careful inspection. The obverse of the coin carries the classic portrait of Washington, with inscriptions, "Liberty" at the top, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date, 1986, beneath the neck, while the reverse showcases the heraldic eagle with wings partially extended, perched atop a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing the United States' readiness for defense and commitment to peace. Though in bad condition coins, the eagle's intricate feather details, talons, arrows, and olive branch are often heavily worn or barely discernible, reflecting decades of heavy circulation through countless transactions, from cash registers to vending machines, toll booths, public transportation, and everyday pocket change, which over time produces flattened design features, scratches, nicks, discoloration, and toning that collectively tell the coin's circulation history. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1986 quarters, making this coin extremely common in circulation and ensuring that in poor condition, it generally holds face value of 25 cents. Though its significance lies more in historical, educational, and numismatic study rather than monetary scarcity, as it represents a tangible example of late 20th century American coinage and circulation practices. Collectors and educators often use bad condition examples like this to demonstrate mint mark identification, circulation wear patterns, coin grading principles, and comparison to higher grade or uncirculated examples, while also examining potential minor minting errors such as die cracks, doubling, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws, which, though relatively rare for 1986 Philadelphia strikes, can elevate the interest and value of even a heavily worn coin when certified by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. From a physical standpoint, the 1986 Washington quarter measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, 1.75 millimeters in thickness, and weighs 5.67 grams. With a reeded edge that is often worn down in circulated examples, and the copper-nickel-clad composition contributes to its durability, corrosion resistance, and long lifespan, though environmental factors and continuous handling over decades produce characteristic toning, patina, and surface irregularities, offering both visual interest and insights into the chemical behavior of the coin's metals over time. Historically, this coin circulated during a period of significant technological and economic development in the United States, with expanding consumerism, automation, vending machines, and cash-based transactions, making the 1986 P quarter a witness to the everyday economic life of the late 20th century, its wear and imperfections recording the countless hands it passed through, the pockets and cash registers it traversed, and the routine yet vital role it played in the American economy. While in bad condition, its market value remains minimal. Its numismatic significance is multidimensional, providing a foundation for collectors completing date and mint mark sets, researchers studying circulation wear, historians analyzing physical artifacts of mid-1980s daily life, and educators introducing coin collecting principles to students and beginners, all of which highlight the coin's utility beyond mere face value. In terms of numismatic narrative, the 1986 P Washington quarter bridges the gap between the classic silver quarters of the pre-1965 era and the modern commemorative and 50-state quarters programs that began in 1999, demonstrating continuity of design, symbolic imagery, and minting techniques, while reflecting practical considerations of modern circulation coinage, durability, and cost efficiency. Even in its heavily circulated state, with flattened design, worn edges, surface scratches, and discolored or toned surfaces, the coin embodies the enduring story of the Washington Quarter series, serving as both a physical connection to a past era and a teaching example of coin durability, circulation, and grading. It illustrates how coins survive decades of handling, environmental exposure, and human interaction, while still conveying the iconic imagery of the first U.S. president and the eagle symbolizing national ideals. Ultimately, the 1986 Washington Quarter, P mint mark, in bad condition, is far more than a simple 25-cent piece. It is a historical artifact, educational tool, and witness to everyday life, encapsulating decades of American commerce, circulation patterns, metallurgy, design consistency, and cultural context, while offering opportunities for study, comparison, and appreciation by collectors, historians, educators, and casual enthusiasts, with every worn detail, flattened feature, and surface mark serving as a testament to its journey through American hands, its resilience in circulation, and its enduring connection to the broader narrative of U.S. coinage, illustrating how even a common, low-value coin can tell rich and complex stories about history, design, economic life, and the legacy of George Washington, making it a fascinating object of study and admiration in the world of numismatics. The 1991 Washington Quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint and identified by the P mint mark, is part of the long-standing Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Featuring the enduring and iconic left-facing portrait of the first president, designed by John Flanagan, whose neoclassical style combines realism with dignity, creating a profile that has become synonymous with American coinage and recognized worldwide, while the reverse bears the traditional heraldic eagle clutching a bundle of arrows above an olive branch, a design symbolizing the United States' commitment to both defense and peace. Although in examples graded as bad condition, typically good G or about good AG, most of the intricate details of the eagle, the arrows, the olive branch, and even portions of Washington's hair, facial features, and clothing are heavily worn, flattened, or barely discernible, smooth or partially eroded, and the P mint mark, located on the obverse to the right of Washington's ponytail, may be faint or partially obscured due to decades of circulation, making even this common coin a study in wear patterns and handling history. The 1991 P quarter belongs to the post-1965 copper-nickel-clad series, composed of a pure copper core bonded to outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a composition chosen for durability and cost efficiency after the U.S. transitioned away from silver coinage, allowing coins to circulate for decades without significant degradation, though bad condition examples often display surface scratches, discoloration, toning ranging from dark gray to brown, and occasional greenish verdigris where the outer nickel layer has worn away, revealing the copper core underneath. The obverse bears the inscriptions "Liberty" at the top, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date 1991 below the neck, all of which may be partially worn in heavily circulated examples, while the reverse features United States of America, E pluribus unum, and quarter dollar, inscriptions that remain partially legible in bad condition coins, and even though the design details are flattened, the coin still serves as an important artifact of circulation, minting quality, and economic history. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1991 quarters, making this coin extremely common in circulation, meaning that in bad condition, it generally holds minimal collector or market value beyond face value, around 25 cents. Although it remains significant as a study piece for educational purposes, coin set completion, and circulation analysis, as it offers a real-world example of wear patterns, toning, edge flattening, and surface degradation over decades of use. Collectors and numismatists also examine bad condition 1991 P quarters for minor minting errors, such as die cracks, double dies, planchet flaws, or off-center strikes, which, though rare, can add interest or value if verified by a professional grading authority such as PCGS or NGC. And even without errors, these coins provide insight into the durability of copper-nickel-clad coinage, the effects of circulation, and the historical patterns of U.S. coin handling in the late 20th century. Physically, the coin measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, 1.75 millimeters in thickness, and weighs 5.67 grams, with a reeded edge that often becomes smooth over time. And the combination of copper core and nickel-clad surface contributes to a coin that can endure decades of use, though environmental factors and heavy handling leave clear traces in the form of flattened design, scratches, and surface discoloration. Historically and culturally, the 1991 P. Washington quarter circulated during a period of significant technological, economic, and social development in the United States, including increased automation in retail, the widespread use of coin-operated machines, and ongoing economic growth in the early 1990s, meaning that each coin acted as a silent witness to everyday transactions, pocket-to-pocket exchanges, and the broader flow of commerce, while simultaneously reflecting continuity in design, symbolism, and minting practices from the earlier Washington quarters. From an educational standpoint, a bad condition 1991 P quarter is ideal for teaching coin grading, mint mark identification, circulation wear assessment, and comparison with higher-grade examples, allowing both beginners and experienced collectors to study the subtle effects of handling, environmental exposure, and long-term circulation on modern coinage, while offering a baseline for comparison to other mint issues, such as Denver or San Francisco coins, as well as earlier or later years in the Washington Quarter series. While market value for heavily circulated 1991 P quarters is minimal, their significance lies in their historical and educational relevance, offering an accessible way to explore numismatics, the effects of copper-nickel-clad composition over time, and the cultural story of everyday American coin usage in the early 1990s. Ultimately, the 1991 Washington Quarter P mint mark in bad condition is far more than a simple 25-cent coin. It is a living historical artifact, a teaching tool, and a tangible witness to decades of American circulation, commerce, and everyday life. With each scratch, flattened design element, worn edge, and toned surface telling a story about its journey through countless hands, pockets, cash registers, and vending machines, reflecting the practical realities of U.S. currency circulation, the durability and behavior of copper-nickel-clad coinage, and the enduring legacy of George Washington on American coins, making it both a fascinating object for collectors, educators, and historians, and a reminder that even a common low-value coin can carry rich historical, educational, and numismatic significance, embodying the stories of decades of use, while continuing to represent the continuity, artistry, and symbolic value of the Washington Quarter series, bridging the past and present in the ongoing narrative of U.S. coinage. Next up,